some of you keen-eyed may have noticed, they're actually guardrails, I think. These camels, as soon as you open a gate, they know exactly what's going on. Ideally we would get sort of 5 or 10 mil every week. Right, so I'm not a mechanic, I'm just a farmer. Good morning everyone, what's going on today? I'm just, we saw some crossbred lambs late last week, and I've been in a little holding paddock and I'm just taking them back. We're going to put them in a bit of a feedlot for a couple of days to try and get them eating some pellets and some hay. Go back, Max. So as you know, we planted a heap of crops in there, going along pretty well. We actually got another 6 mil last night, which was really good. We really needed that. Some of those crops have only had sort of 8 mil on it since they've been sown, which they went into moisture, but yeah, they were starting to need it, which so this 6 mil is really going to kick them along a bit more. So these are second cross lamb, so what we're doing is we're taking them back and going to get them started on some feed, and then we'll put some feeders out on the crops with them, but also I should do a better job of them, you know, in terms of growth rates and things too. So here, Maggie, come out of here, sit. So that's what I'm doing this morning. So some of these would have been fed on their mums. So firstly, I won't put much feed in the feeder. I'll just trail feed a bit out to them, just so that they can learn the smell and learn, you know, that it's actually food, because it will take them a little bit to realise that, probably I don't know, a couple of days maybe. So that's what I'll do initially, and then once they know what the smell is, then I'll start putting a little bit in the feeder, and then they know that the feeder means food then. Way back. Go back. Go way back, Minnie. Some pretty good looking lambs in there that won't take long to finish up. Hello, girlie. So they'll probably, it's only a little small paddock, but they'll walk around it, have a bit of a look around. It is first thing in the morning, so they're generally, well, they were grazing when I went round them, so they'll be looking for a bit of tucker at the moment, but they'll find the water trough, and there's hay over in that corner there, loosened hay, they'll probably find first up. Here, hopefully they find the water there, which it's good bore water, so there'll be nothing wrong with that. They'll love that stuff once they get a taste for it. Obviously there's not a lot of pick in there for them, and so when they get hungry they'll just go looking for a bit of feed, and that's when hopefully they'll find the pellets. So you can see here I've got a bucket of, this is barley in here, and I've got bought a couple of these feeders down. Some of you keen-eyed may have noticed, they're actually guardrails, I think, from the road. They must have, don't know whether it was dad or grandfather built them, but they must have picked them up when they were replacing them or something. So they apparently make good feed troughs. But yeah, I'm just going to put probably just a bucket in here this morning. Try and start them off at about 30 grams a day of barley, which I think is about 500. I've just got to get some out of that paddock and put in here, but I think there'll be about 500 in here once we do that. And 30 grams times 500 is about 15 kilos, and this is, I just weighed this then, this is about 15 kilos, one of these buckets. So start off very lightly, and for some of you that may not know why we have to do that, it's because there's a real risk of acidosis with starting sheep and cattle on grain. Pellets, you know, not so much, but yeah, grain, your wheats, barleys, cereals, sort of things, it is a risk, and barley is one of the safer ones. Wheat's pretty you know, pretty dangerous in terms of that, so I could be giving them a little bit more, but we'll just see how they go with this. I'll just sprinkle the rest of it in this feeder over here, just because I don't want there to be a heap of it in one spot. I just didn't want to, yeah, didn't like how much was it going in there, so I'll just put the rest of it in the bottom of this feeder. I'm just taking a bale of hay down to the young stud ewe lambs, but I can see that the lambs in there are over having a bit of a look at the trough, so I'd say they've found the grain, which I'm sure, I can't remember, I'm sure that we did give some of the crossbred second cross lambs some grain with their mums. I'm sure we did for this reason, so that it's just easier getting them onto grain if we ever had to. So yeah, that's a good sign. But yeah, I'm just taking a baler loose, and this is a square baler that we sort of traded some rams for. I'm just taking some of it down to new lambs because they're out, Dad said. What are they? They've been joined for a couple of weeks now, so probably another 3 weeks, probably a 5-week joining with these. Then we'll take the rams out. It was only a couple marked by the ram, because if you remember we put the harness on this fella. There's only a couple marked, so whether that means they're sort of still a bit young or just not joining up for whatever reason, I don't know, but we'll give them another couple of weeks and see how they look. Bit of canola, not looking too bad. It's a little bit thinner up on the side of the hill there, but it'll fill in alright. Just coming out to have a look at this paddock and see how much feed's left in here for these sheep, which there's still a good little pick in here for them at the moment, but we'll have to shift them in the next week, probably into that next paddock. Where there's cattle in that next paddock too. Trying to really eat that one out because there's a lot of grass in there at the minute. But yeah, I wanted to chew this one off because it'll probably go into something a bit more permanent this year. It was in oats last year and it just hasn't been sown yet. These camels, as soon as you open a gate, they know exactly what's going on. They know that they can get through into another paddock, and they walk on through. They were all the way down the other end of that paddock. I've just come through there and I left that gate open just to go check those ewes. And I turn around and look who's in here. Here mate, go back. Go back. Get out you buggers. What are you doing? Yes, you know you're not meant to be in here. Go on. Come on. Yes, you know you're naughty. I'm afraid this canola crop is not for you lot. See, they know exactly where they're meant to be. I didn't even open the gate fully, I just opened it enough to get the bike through, and they're straight in it. Go on. You can see since we took those first cross ewe lambs we just took off, hit this ryegrass, it's coming back pretty well. It's nice and green. It's had a bit of rain on it. Oh no, sorry, apologies. We had the young stud ewe lambs on here, which you would have seen in the last video, I think, that we had on here that we took off. Since then, the ryegrass is coming back really well, which is good to see. Looks healthy and green. So we'll try and it had that 6 mil on it last night, as I said, and you know it'll kick along pretty well now. It's screened up this morning since it's had a bit of rain on it, because it was pretty dry before we had that bit of rain. Ideally we would get sort of 5 or 10 mil every week on all the crops and stuff, and it just keeps things green and thriving and coming along, and then you know you're not getting inches on inches, and you know then the grass isn't getting so waterlogged then. Like last year, you know, we were getting grass that was sort of 80-90% water, which I mean that's just going straight through the sheep. Then they're not getting a lot out of the grass, which is why last year was a bit of a funny year. This year things are plateaued a bit. We're a bit drier and a bit more average, I suppose you'd say. I think we've had 110 mils for the year so far, which is good. That's probably pretty average. We generally, our rainfall is about 680 mils here, and that's generally we're not seasonal, very seasonal rainfall. It's generally pretty even through the year, which thankfully I suppose you'd say that's just our climate here where we are. Righto, so the old Hilux needs a service, or an oil change at least, and we do actually have a pit here, but as you can see it's full of water. So there has been water coming in the back of the shed here. I did put some foam there. I don't know whether that's actually what it's meant to be for, but we had some expanding foam, and I put that there and it seems to have stopped it for now. I mean, this year's obviously nowhere near as wet as it has been at the moment, so, but yeah, it's rained and there hasn't been water leaking in here anymore, because the water would come in here and then leak into the pit. So I've just got the pump here that I'm going to run and empty that pit, and then let it dry out. Maybe might do it this afternoon or something if it dries out enough, but yeah, just get it empty and then we can actually use it then, because it is really handy having the pit for doing stuff like oil changes on the utes. We do. So I do a lot of the oil changes on the ute, but I do send it into a mechanic every now and then, obviously, because I'm far from a mechanic, but I do know how to change filters and fuel and oil and diffs and stuff, you know, but we just send it in every now and then so that a professional can look over it. I mean, I know the basics, but they'll pick up stuff that I don't see. Right, so I'm not a mechanic, I'm just a farmer, so if you see something I'm doing wrong, just constructive criticise me, not just flat out say I'm doing something wrong and not tell me how to do it properly. So, not that there's a lot wrong you can do in changing oil, but yeah, that's all I'm going to do, and change a fuel filter as well. That's all it needs at the moment, but you can see that we're actually growing quite a good crop under here. So at least if the canola does fail, at least we got some in storage, thankfully. Yeah, no, it looks healthy, doesn't it? One of the best things I bought was this thing here for emptying the oil into, because it's got a little spout that you just tip it into. We've got a 1,000 litre thing around the corner to pull all the dirty oil in. Why is that so tight? I do just check the bottom of the plug to see if there's any shavings on there. So I think it's magnetised, but no, nothing there. So I'll give the drive shaft a bit of a grease, and the shackles at the back there, I think they got grease nipples on them, and I think that's about it. Just give it a bit of a look over, make sure there's nothing major leaking. It's just water there. My pet hate when it gets low, it just drops onto that rail there, annoys the shit out of me. What's it got? I think this is 270,000 Ks on it, so, and never had to do anything to it. Touch wood. Been away shearing sort of the past couple of weeks. Well, not every day, but away a fair bit shearing recently. So today is sort of a bit of a catch-up day. Just went around and looking at sheep and checking a few paddocks and things, feed availability and stuff. Just so I know where we're at, because we've got crossbred ewes joining at the moment, and then we've got some merino ewes joining as well, and some ewe lambs that'll be joined sort of soonish. So just making sure they're in the right condition and sort of not slipping. And by slipping I mean, you know, going backwards in condition. But yeah, so it's been a bit of a somewhat slow day, I suppose you'd say. Nothing too major happening on the farm, but I did want to make a video. So yeah, I've been a bit slow on the old videos lately, just yeah, away shearing, and which is a pain in the bum, but someone's got to do it. And yeah, it's just made it a bit hard to be on the farm much, but a bit of a break now, which is good. So, and then we'll start shearing all our main line of crossbred ewes and those fine wool merinos up at Doughboy in sort of April. So as you can see, we've got an oil and fuel filter and some oil. I walked in on the right day, all the oils were 45% off or something at at Repco, which was good. So I got that pretty cheap. Because like everything, it's gone up in price. There's the phone. Now, because I've got dual batteries and dual fuel filters on this ute, I do have to take this filter off or out of the way just to get to the oil filter in there, which it's a little bit painful, but I think it is worth having 2 fuel filters. The second one's just an ordinary particle filter or whatever you call them. This is the main one that comes with the ute, but yeah, I do think it's worth it. It's just cheap insurance, really. You get one bad batch of fuel and it can be, you know, detrimental. So having a second one there is can't be, you know, can't hurt. So, and I also got dual batteries in it, mainly for run the fridge and stuff. I got that when that was a few years ago now, but I do enjoy having it. It's also pretty good because it's got a little button on the console there that if the main battery's dead, you can just hold it and it jump starts it off this one, because obviously they're not linked, because otherwise it'll be 24 volt and then you'd blow up all your accessories. So they've got to be isolated, obviously. But if this one dies, it doesn't drain this one too, which is always good. Spot on, but we will just have to start it up to get the oil through the filter there. So I'll probably have to add a little bit, touch more. And there's just a little hand pump at the top here that pumps fuel back into it, because otherwise it wouldn't start. Righto, we'll just kick it in the guts and make sure, pump some oil through that filter, and then we'll check the oil again. Make sure the oil light goes off. Might need to pump some more fuel in there. Yeah. Fuel filter's not quite full. I thought it was, but it's clearly not. Try again, shall we? All lights off. It's perfect. Could you see that? Yeah. Perfect, spot on. Now I'll just grease that tail shaft and all the other grease nipples on here, and that'll be it. They give you this good little sticker that you can stick up here that tells you when you serviced it and when the next service is. Which is really handy. You don't have to remember or keep looking in a book of when you did it last. So. Now for arguably the most important step, filling up the windscreen washer fluid. That wasn't how it was meant to go. But anyway guys, that's going to be the end of another one. I'm off to footy training now, so go get changed and probably should have a shower. Hope you enjoyed that one. A bit more talking, but as I said, a bit of a catch-up day. So with that, we'll catch you in the next one. So stay tuned. See ya. Bye.